Namaste, welcome to the class. Savdhan, Siddha, Brahmanad. Om. Om. Santi, Santi, Santi. Swastha. In the previous class, we discussed about the chapter cell. So in the cell chapter, we discussed about that the definition of the cell, the discovery of the cell, the shape of the cell, the size of the cell, according to the number. How many types of cell? Yes or no? Yes. So the first question is, what is cell? So who can say that what is cell or define the cell? Yes. What is cell? Cell is defined as what? Cell is the structural and functional unit of all the living organisms. So it can also called as fundamental unit of life. So what can also called as fundamental unit of life, or which is known as the fundamental unit of life? So cell is known as the fundamental unit of life, and also is the structural and functional unit of life. Okay. After that, we discussed about the discovery of cell. We know that the scientist Robert Hooke discovered the cell in the year 1565. So who discovered the cell? The cell was discovered by the scientist Robert Hooke. In which year? In the year 1665. Okay. After that, we discussed about the number, shape and size of the cell. We know that according to the number, there are two types of cell. What are the two types? First one is unicellular and second one is multicellular. Here in case of the unicellular cell, uni means one. So the organisms which have one cell is known as the unicellular cell. And the examples of the unicellular cells are bacteria, paramecium, etc. We know that. Now another question is multicellular organism. We know that the multi means many or more than one. We know that we can say the definition of the, or we can define the multicellular organisms as the organisms which have more than one cell or many cells, known as multicellular organisms. And the examples of the multicellular organisms are what? We are the examples of the multicellular organisms. So first thing that we in case of the multicellular organisms, first we are the examples of the multicellular organisms. So we can say that human beings are the examples of the multicellular organisms. Cats, dogs, etc. also are the examples of the multicellular organisms. Okay. After that, we discussed about the shape of the cell. We know that there are variety of cells of the cell, like spherical cell, long and branch cell, spindle cell, etc. In our body there RBC present and WBC also present. But here you have to remember that in case of the WBC can change its cell. Okay, WBC always change its cell. But in case of the RBC, that is red blood cell, RBC, the shape of the RBC is spherical. Okay, so RBC is in spherical cell. After that, muscle cells. In case of the muscle cells, the shape of the muscle cells is spindle cell. Okay, so muscle cells are spindle cell in nature. And the nerve cell, the shape of the nerve cell is long and branch cell. Here you have to remember that nerve cells receive and transport the message. Therefore, thereby they coordinate the work between the different parts of our body. So, which cell receives and nerve cell. Okay, so here you have to remember that the nerve cell receives and transfers the message. They coordinate the body parts to work in our different parts of our body. Okay, after that we discussed about the size of the cell. So the smallest size of the cell is in bacterial cell and the size is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer, and the largest size of the cell is egg of an ostrich. Okay, so and size is 170 to 130 mm. Okay, so here you have to remember that the smallest size of the cell is bacterial cell, and that is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer, and the largest size of the cell is egg of an ostrich, and the size is 170 to 130 mm. Okay. So now in this class we will discuss about the long and short questions in the parts of the cell. So we know that this is the diagram of plant cell. This is plasma membrane. This is nucleus. Okay, so we know that the basic components of the cell are plasma membrane, nucleus, and the cytoplasm. Okay, so what are the basic components of the cell? Plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm are the basic components of the cell. Here you have to remember that. Okay, so what are the basic components of the cell? Plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. Okay, so the basic components of the cell is plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. After that, we know that the nucleus and the cytoplasm are enclosed with which membrane? In this membrane, what is this membrane called? This membrane is called the plasma membrane. So we can say that the nucleus and the cytoplasm are enclosed with a membrane called the plasma membrane. And also we know that what is the another name of plasma membrane? The another name of plasma membrane is the cell membrane. Okay. So what is the another name of plasma membrane? So the another name of plasma membrane is the cell membrane. And in cell membrane, the nucleus and the cytoplasm are enclosed. So now here, first thing that we know that plasma membrane. So what do you know about the plasma membrane? We know that the another name of plasma membrane is the cell membrane. So this membrane's another name is plasma membrane. This membrane or this plasma membrane separates the cell from one another and also the surrounding medium. This plasma membrane is porous and allows the movement of substances or materials both inward and outward. Okay, so what do you know that? We know that the another name of this plasma membrane is known as the cell membrane. This plasma membrane separates the cell from one another and also the surrounding medium. This plasma membrane is porous and allows the movement of substance both inward and outward of the cell. Okay, so and we know that this is the diagram of the plant cell. Here you have to remember that in case of the plant cell, there is another outermost covering. This covering is known as the cell wall. Don't get confused in cell membrane and cell wall. This is the another layer of the cell membrane. So the another layer of the cell membrane or the membrane that protects the cell membrane or plasma membrane is cell wall. Okay, in case of the plant cell, the cell wall present. This additional layer is required in plant cell for the protection. This protection is required against varying in temperature, humidity, rainfall, etc. Okay, so what do you know? First thing that we know that plasma membrane. After that we know about the cell wall. So first surrounding medium. And also we know that this plasma membrane or cell membrane are porous allows the movement of substances both inward and outward of the cell. The another additional layer of covering in plasma membrane is cell wall. It required in plant cell for the protection. This protection is needed in plant or this cell wall required to the plant for varying temperature, humidity, rainfall, etc. After that, the basic component of the cell is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, it is a jelly-like substance present in between plasma membrane and nuclear membrane. So cytoplasm is present in first. So it is present in between the nuclear membrane and the plasma membrane. Okay. So in the cytoplasm there are various types of organelles are present. What are the organelles? So the organelles are like the mitochondria, ribosome, Golgi body, plastid, vacuole, etc. Okay, so here we have to remember that mitochondria powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. ATP, energy currency of the cell. Okay, lysosome, suicidal sac of the cell. Vacuole, storage sac of the cell. So, what do you know? We know that cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance, and in the cytoplasm there are various types of organelles are present. What are the organelles? Like the mitochondria, ATP, lysosome, vacuole, Golgi body, plastid, etc. So, mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. ATP is known as the energy currency of the cell. Lysosome is known as the suicidal sac of the cell. Vacuole is known as the storage sac of the cell, and the plastid is known as the color pigment of the cell. And two types of plastid like chromoplast and leucoplast. Chromoplast is colored plastid, whereas leucoplast are colorless or white plastid. The plastid containing the pigment chlorophyll is known as the chloroplast. Okay, and this is present in the leaves of the plant. We know that. So, cytoplasm. So, this is all about the cytoplasm. Now, this is nuclear membrane, and this is nucleus. So, what is nuclear membrane? The membrane that separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. So, this is the nuclear membrane. So, the membrane that separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm is known as the nuclear membrane. So, what is nuclear membrane? The membrane that separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. Okay, we will discuss about the nucleus. It is also an important component of the cell. Okay. It is the control unit of the cell. You have to remember that. So, what is the control unit of the cell? So, the nucleus is the control unit of the cell. It is spherical in shape, located in the center of the cell. The membrane is also porous. So, which membrane is porous? We know. After that, we know that the plasma membrane or the cell membrane is porous. After that, we know that nucleus it is also porous, allows the movement of materials in the cytoplasm and inside the nucleus. Okay, see microscope of higher magnification we can see there is a small spherical body inside the nucleus. This small spherical body is known as the nucleus. This nucleus contains thread-like structures called the chromosomes, and in chromosomes these carry genes and help in the inheritance transfer of the characters from the parents to the children. Okay, so what thing you know? We know that we discussed about the parts of the cell. So we know that the main components of the cell are cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. So first thing discussed we about the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. We know that plasma membrane, the another name of plasma membrane is cell membrane. This membrane separates the cell from one another and also the surrounding medium. This membrane is porous and allows the movement of materials both inward and outward of the cell. After that we discussed about the cytoplasm. We know that this cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance, and in case of the cytoplasm there are various types of organelles are present. What are the organelles? Like the mitochondria, plastids, ribosome, lysosome, vacuole, etc. And we know that this mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. ATP is known as the energy currency of the cell. Vacuole known as the storage sac of the cell. Lysosome is known as the suicidal sac of the cell. Plastid known as the color pigment of the cell. Nucleus is known as the control unit of the cell, as it controls all the work that coded in the cell. Okay. After that we discussed about the nucleus. We know that nucleus is also an important component of the cell. As we know that it is the control unit of the cell. Also, it is generally spherical in shape and present in the center of the cell. Generally, it is present in the center of the cell. This nucleus is also porous and allows the movement of materials both inside the nucleus and outside and inside the cytoplasm. Okay, the membrane that separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm is known as the nuclear membrane. Okay, there is also a small spherical body inside the nucleus, and this small spherical body is known as the nucleus. But the nucleus, we can see the nucleus with a microscope of higher magnification. So, with a microscope of higher magnification, we can see a smaller spherical body inside the nucleus. This is known as the nucleus. Okay, and in the nucleus there are small thread-like structures are present called chromosomes, and in chromosomes genes are also present that help in the inheritance transfer of the character from the parents to the child. Okay, and after that we know about the cell wall. We know that in animal cells, cell walls are not present, but in case of the plant cell walls are present. This cell wall is needed in the plant due to the protection. This plant will require protection against varying in temperature, humidity, rainfall, etc. Okay. Now there is some difference in between the plant cell and animal cell parts. Now we can compare the cell parts between the animal cell and plant cell. So here is the parts. You have to say that whether this is present in plant cell or animal cell or in both. Okay. Cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, nuclear membrane, cytoplasm, plastid and vacuole. So cell wall, as we know that cell wall is present in case of plant cell due to the protection, and also we know that in case of the plant cell only cell wall is present, but in case of the animal cell there is the plasma membrane. But in case of the plant cell, the outer layer is the cell wall. So cell wall is present in plant cell. But what in the animal cell? Yes, this is absent in the animal cell. Cell membrane. Cell membrane or plasma membrane? We know that the another name of cell membrane is plasma membrane. So as we know that the outer layer of the animal cell is the plasma membrane. So in case of the animal cell, the cell membrane or plasma membrane is present. But in case of the plant cell, yes, in case of the plant cell also cell membrane is present because the additional layer of the plasma membrane or cell membrane is the cell wall. So cell membrane is also present in the plant cell. So this plasma membrane or cell membrane present in both types of cell. So in case of plant cell and animal cell, in both the cases the cell membranes are present. Okay. After that, nucleus. Nucleus is the control unit of a cell. So it is present in both type of cell. Nucleus is present in plant cell and in animal cell. Now, nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane is also present in the plant cell and animal cell. Cytoplasm. Yes, cytoplasm is present in cytoplasm is also present in both type of cells because it is a jelly-like substance. And in the cytoplasm there are various types of organelles are present. So, in case of the plant cell also various types of organelles present, and in case of the animal cell also various types of organelles present. We know that vacuoles. Vacuoles are present in plant cell and animal cell also. But in case of the plant cell there are large vacuoles present, and in case of animal cell there are small vacuoles are present. Okay. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is present in both types of cells. Present. Plastid. Now plastid is present in plant cell, but plastids are not present in animal cell. Why plastids are not present in animal cell? Because we know that plants can make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. So in case of the plant cell, due to the plastid present, so these plants can make their own food. But animals are dependent upon the food. Okay, so plastids are present in the plant cell, but in case of the animal cell, absent. Vacuoles. As we know that cytoplasm is present in both types of cells. Cytoplasm organelles are present also, like mitochondria, ribosome, lysosome, vacuoles, etc. But in case of the plant cell, there is large vacuole present. About 50 to 90% of the plant cell is occupied the vacuole. But in case of the animal cell, there are small vacuoles are present. So in case of plant cell, large vacuole present. In case of animal cell, smaller vacuole. Okay. So this is the all about the cell chapter. If you have any doubt about this chapter, you can call me. I will ask some question based on this chapter in your group. You will write the answer of this question and send it to my personal WhatsApp number. Okay. Thank you.